Don't lie. Gaming feels different, right? I don't know how passionate you are about gaming, but if you're like me, you'd probably think gaming is something I never quit. You'll tell everyone it'll never change for you, that you're in it for life, but when you're alone in a dark room, no one around, just you and your thoughts, you know, deep down, gaming doesn't hit the same anymore. Don't lie to yourself. Whether it's a multiplayer game or a single player epic, it's just not like it used to be. We have gone from the World of Warcraft to Genshin Impact, from CS to Valorant, from God of War 1 to Black Myth Wukong, from Demon Souls to Elden Ring. It's like that one genre that keeps kicking my ass in all the right ways, but no one is addressing this problem anymore. Everyone is too busy talking about Black Myth Wukong and Shadow of the Erdtree like it's gonna solve everything. Meanwhile, here we are, sitting on the sidelines thinking, when did gaming become boring? And trust me, it's totally on us. It's not games that are dull. Past few years are the best for gaming in the history. And it's not just us old timers either. It's happening to everyone. Those who are born in late 90s or early 2000s, back then gaming was pure magic. But now the new generation, they jumped in at the PS4 and PS5 era and are still riding high, playing online games with no restrictions. But here's the thing, even they're starting to feel it. They're beginning to see that the age of gaming is changing faster than they can keep up with. So why is this happening? Is this just how it's gonna be from now on, or is it something we can do to bring back that spark? Now, I'm not here to tell you what to do, and I'm definitely not the therapist, but I can tell you what worked for me, and maybe, just maybe, it'll work for you too. Keep up with the video and try to understand my points, and if you have any argument to do, then please do. Before I dive into my points, let me tell you a quick story about myself. So recently I realized something. I never actually played Far Cry 4 back in the day. When I was younger, my laptop couldn't run it. You know the struggle, right? But I always thought to myself, one day I'll definitely play it. I loved Far Cry 3, had a blast with Far Cry 5, and Far Cry 6 was pretty fun too. Especially since I played it co-op with a friend. I just knew Far Cry 4 is gonna be amazing. Fast forward to now, finally I got my hands on it, booted it up, and after 5 to 8 hours of playing, I started yawning every 10 minutes. I don't even know why. On paper, Far Cry 4 is great. The world of Kyrat is gorgeous, the story is solid, the choices are cool. I mean, from the critical perspective, it's a really well-made game. But for some reason, every time I booted it up, I just felt tired. Why didn't I enjoy it like I did Far Cry 3? I don't know. Maybe it's me, maybe it's the game, but something about it didn't click. And feeling of excitement I used to have, it just wasn't there. Why is that? Every time you get your hands on a new game, what's the first thing that crosses your mind? Probably this knot. Wow, I can't wait to dive in the story, but it's more like, how well is this going to run? It's wild, but it's true. Gaming has become more about frame rates per second than the actual game itself. With all this evolving technology, games are getting more and more demanding, and PC components, don't even get me started. They are crazy expensive. I have seen people more concerned about whether they are getting 120 FPS than they are about the world the developers spent years crafting. Back in the early 2010s, almost anyone could run any game, and there wasn't a major title that would completely wreck your system. Nowadays though, people are dropping cash on high-end graphic cards just to max out the settings. But here's the kicker, they don't even finish the game. They're just happy they could run it in ultra settings. This is a big issue. People care more about performance than the game itself. The gaming industry and especially the media had pushed the FPS obsession to new height. If you're playing something competitive like Valorant or CS2, suddenly you need an expensive mouse, a 240Hz monitor, and specs that could run a space station. And don't even get me started on in-game skins. People get more excited about buying new skins than they do about single-player story games these days. And look, I was guilty for it too. For the longest time, I was trapped in the grind. I was deep into Valorant, grinding every day, getting better, buying ridiculously expensive skins. I started skipping single-player games entirely because I was so caught up in trying to improve, but it slowly became an addiction, and I didn't even realize it until much later. Before I wrap up this point, let me give you an example. A few days ago, I was talking to my friend and he recently started playing Alan Wake 2 on his laptop, which to be honest can barely handle it. He is enjoying the game but keeps going on about how he is ruining his experience because he can't run it on ultra settings, and I keep telling him fun doesn't come from maxing out the graphics. Sure, you'll admire the visuals then and now, but beauty doesn't always equal fun. overdoing gaming or curse of the limited option. Ever thought about hobbies change? I mean, gaming is probably something you hold so close you can't imagine letting it go. But it's not like you have to quit gaming for good. It's more about exploring other things. Remember when you first started gaming? Back then, it was the most exciting time of your life. You were fresh to it, every game felt like new and magical, plus gaming was limited. Maybe your parents set restrictions or you had time limits. But as years passed, you kept doing it and slowly the excitement started to fade. The spark? It's natural for it to dull over time. I've been seeing Valorant streamers quitting the game because of burnout, venturing out into other games. But here's the thing, you're not a streamer. You're not tied down to any specific game. So take a break, explore not just new games, but life outside of gaming. It's harsh, but it's true. If you overdo something, even gaming, it's going to lose its magic eventually. Now I know most of you aren't sitting around gaming 24/7. We have jobs, schools, social lives. So why are we still getting burned out? Even with the less time to play. Here's where the second problem comes in. Too many options. Do you remember when choices were limited? Back in the day, if you get your hands on just one game or movie, that was enough to keep you busy for a month. I still remember back when I was in 7th grade, I found a lost USB stick on my way home from class, of course. Risky move, but I plugged it into my PC anyway. And guess what? It had 2 pirated games, Driver San Francisco and Far Cry 3, along with few Hollywood movies. I was so hyped and the smile on my face was priceless. Of course, I also felt bad for whoever lost this USB stick. Imagine bringing those games home only to realize they are gone. But you get my point. Nowadays, no one, especially kids, can imagine that kind of joy. Why? Because we are drowning in options. Whether it's movies or games, there are too much to choose from. Netflix, HBO, Prime, Steam, Epic, Game Pass. It's overwhelming. You can't even settle for one thing because there's always something else. When you were a kid, life was simple. There was no world outside your room, school, and the playground. But now, you have got colleges to finish, a job to get, or maybe even mouths to feed. Sure, you're getting older, but does getting older really mean you don't enjoy gaming anymore? Of course not. It's not about age. It's about time, or more accurately, the lack of it. You just don't have the same time or the same mental space to sink into games like you used to. But for the most of us, that's not even the main issue. Despite all the pressure in life, we still game, right? The thing that makes a tough day better or helps us relax, even for a little while. But here's where real problem sneaks in. Distractions. And you know what the king of distraction is. Just take a guess. Yeah? I am 101% sure it's right there with you. Maybe even in your hands right now. Your smartphone. Let's be honest, most people flat out deny they're addicted to their phones. But today's social media reels, shorts, they've wrecked our focus and attention spans. You're probably at that age now where no one's scolding you for being glued to your phone. But here's the truth. Your smartphone isn't doing you any favors. It's not just bad for your overall health, it's messing with your gaming too. I said it. Believe it or not, your phone might be the reason you don't crave gaming like you used to. Want proof? Go check your screen time setting. Last week, mine showed up an average of 5 hours a day with 71 pickups per day. 71! That number hit me so hard, it literally broke me. So here's the challenge. Charge your phone to 100% and then give yourself a goal. Don't charge it again for 1 or 2 days straight. Just pick up calls, check texts, maybe scroll for a minute and then put it down. Let yourself get bored again. Because here's the real kicker. These days, we have stopped letting ourselves getting bored. And that's why we don't crave gaming like we used to. For many gamers, the novelty of playing something new and exciting in the past makes modern games feel dull in comparison. Chasing that feeling can be disappointing. As developers try to replicate past success, sometimes it's the developer's fault, but let's be real, we're the part of problem too. We struggle to accept change, clinging desperately to those old golden experiences. Developers often try to bring back those cherished memories, but it just doesn't hit the same. Take Assassin's Creed for example. I loved Origins and Odyssey, but there's this constant demand for another Assassin's Creed 2 that's not just feasible. Sure, developers can try to capture some of that old essence, but you can't just recreate the AC2 experience. Gaming evolves, and so should our expectations. It's natural to miss the old days, but we need to give new experiences a chance. Not everything will hit the same highs as our favorite classics, but that doesn't mean they don't have their own magic. It's all about finding a balance, appreciating what was good about the past while embracing what's fresh and new in the present. In the end, nostalgia is a powerful force. It can be comforting reminder of simpler times, but if we let it dictate our gaming experience too strictly, we might miss out some truly amazing new adventures. So next time you are tempted to chase the past, remember the gaming world is full of new stories and innovation to be discovered by you. Give them a fair shot and you might find a new favorite. This point is often overlooked, but it's crucial and it'll help tie everything together. At the end, I'll give you a right mindset to tackle this issue. So you have probably overdone gaming. You play every day, or at least you did for many years. You've got distractions like your smartphone, maybe you're caught in a nostalgia trap, or you're facing performance crisis. Combine all these factors and no wonder gaming doesn't surprise or excite you like it used to. And guess what? That's completely natural. Think back to when you first experienced something visually stunning in games. Remember watching a character scale a building and execute a leap of faith, or Kratos topping a colossal foot, or Prince running on walls. Those moments were jaw-dropping that kept us surprised, marveling at how amazing and visually stunning they are. Of course, beauty alone doesn't make a game great, but it added to the magic. Sure, in 2018, when we were blown away when Baldur punched Kratos and the world of Elden Ring left us speechless, but it's just not the same. The combination of all 4 points we have discussed, overdoing gaming, distractions, nostalgia, and performance issues, can explain why gaming doesn't surprise you anymore. The key takeaway here is that the thrill of gaming can fade over time. It doesn't mean gaming is broken, it means your perspective and experiences have evolved. The right mindset is about embracing new experiences, finding fresh sources of excitement within games. Look beyond the visuals and dive into new genres, innovative mechanics, and storytelling methods. Remember, the gaming world is vast and ever-changing. Sometimes you need to shift your focus and approach to rediscover the spark, explore new titles, challenge yourself with different playstyles, and allow yourself to be surprised again. Gaming might not always astonish you the way it used to, but with the right mindset, it can still offer moments of joy and wonder. So what's to keep in mind? Just keep your expectations low. You don't need to cling to older days to find joy in newer titles. Remember at the very beginning of this video when I mentioned Far Cry 4? Well, here what I realized. I don't have to play Far Cry 4 just because I wanted to play it several years ago. What do I want today? Maybe I don't want to dive into an open world game at all. Perhaps I just want to grind in Valorant, or maybe I want to revisit Dark Souls 3, or maybe I just want to watch a movie with no gaming involved. No matter if you don't have any friends left or how boring your life may be getting, just stay in that boring zone. Getting boring is actually the key to finding excitement. So stop surrounding yourself with constant pool of joy and distractions. And hey, I'm no therapist, alright. This approach worked for me and it might work for you too. Peace.